prep for the finals was pretty much just going on our scouting doc, seeing what they played throughout the entire season, and just making a draft plan beforehand, making a few drafts to see what they were going to play and what we were going to play. And other than that, it was just pretty much warming up with games beforehand. We didn't really do anything all too special for the pre-match warm-up.
Prep-wise, we did our basic scouting, look at what they've played in the league, what they play in solo queue. Warm-up wise, I think I played a couple ARAMs before the game, but nothing. I wasn't like prepping any new champs or anything.
For me, I'm the one that usually does all the prep as far as like the scouting doc that we run. So just taking the input and seeing, like Colin said, what we see them playing in competitive, what we see them playing in solo queue, even looking at a couple of their scrims, and having an idea of, priorities that they would have going into the series, hoping to be on red side as many games as possible, because we deemed that blue side wasn't an advantage in the series whatsoever, just because of how the meta played out. And then for me personally, trying out champions that recently rose in the meta, like Smolder, like we picked in game 1, and just changing my pool a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit, to have that champ available if we needed to play, which we did play. So
no, not really. To be quite honest with you, I didn't know who we were playing in the finals until I sat down and saw usernames. I kind of let the people handle that, and I'm just like, they just send me in, and I do my thing. Be real. Yeah, that's the short and sweet of it. That's kind of all it is.
I think the closest series we had was probably against Bloom Moonflower, from what I remember. I think that was a 3-2 series. Granted, we never starting jungler for the second half of the series, but that was probably the closest series we had throughout the entire tournament. They were all pretty good, so I'll say them. Bloom and Moonflower.
Yeah, I think Bloom was the only opponents we dropped games to with our full roster, if I remember correctly. So I think they're really the only choice at all in the entire tournament.
I would say our most difficult opponents is ourselves. We would not play to our own standards, or we would have the issues that we ran into with like Dell not being able to make certain matches or make it past certain times for games. So it just made the games much more challenging on ourselves. But I definitely think opponent-wise, Bloom was definitely the toughest team. Now, was it because we lost our starting jungler? That is our main playmaker / carry. Yeah. So that's why that's what I would attribute the series being more difficult than it actually had to be. But like I said, I think we were our biggest enemies.
I'd love to give you a real answer if I knew anybody's names. I'm really bad with names. I don't remember anybody that I played against.
Other than the obvious answer that everyone is gonna say of our jungler, Delilah, my other option would probably just be Colin, because does a lot for our team that may not go necessarily noticed in the games themselves, but he's a big contributing factor about why we're able to play as well as we are in these games.
I'm gonna take the obvious out. I think Delilah is probably our most obvious MVP. In my opinion, should have been MVP of the entire league, but they were not a part of the roster the entire season, so they were not on the list for eligible votes. But I think our team is nowhere near the same without Dell's playmaking and confidence on the map.
I really have like a soft spot for everyone on the roster, to be honest. I'm the one that built the roster and made it what it was. I really appreciated our top laner Sky or Weatherneck is what his in-game name is, for being able to be versatile and play the champs that we need him to play, where it wasn't usually like his main play style. Obviously, subbing in Dell and Albino halfway through our season helped us tremendously. It was part of a roster that we won BOL Emerald with, and it just brought a really important core to our team of playmaking and communication that we really needed, that was struggling in the early parts of our season. We had a different pair of players in those roles. So obviously those two, and Albino's selflessness to be able to work with Dell give up waves, move towards other lanes was really important for us. And then for Colin, just being able to be such a key factor in how we played games, and he was able to play Engage, he was able to play Enchanter, all while also being in his first split of role swapping to support and being by far the best support in the league. So I think all 4 of them were just extremely helpful as to the reason why we won.
I'd probably have to give it to Colin. I think he performed pretty well and pretty consistently. Also being like a decent voice in comms. Whenever we needed him to speak up, he was able to and such, right? But like beyond that, like of course like KTL is like a really good like carry threat that we have on our team, so he'd be like another option, and Albino would be like a really big honorable mention because I think he just plays off of me really well. Like he's like a really like as in his own, like he can hold his own in lane, but he also like responds to my plays and makes my plays like a little bit less like doomer, I guess. So I'd say Colin, but there's a bunch of options. You can kind of go anywhere.
I think that one is going to be pretty unanimous for all of us. It's going to be the Ornn Penta that we got in one of our matches. My top laner and I just kind of comboed our ults together, and our Hallowed Radiance has exploded and killed 5 people, and he ended up getting all 5 of them. I've never seen that before in a comps game, so that was probably my favorite moment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be an obvious choice with the Ornn Penta. We were so locked into the game when it happened, nobody really noticed until a few seconds after when we heard the announcer say pentakill, and then we all just kind of went crazy as we were ending the game. It was enough that we clipped it and sent it into one of the many League of Legends compilation channels, and it actually got put into a video. So
yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. Again, just because I think especially because it was Sky or Weather Knight that got the Penta, because he was mostly playing tank top laners for us the entire season, which wasn't really his play style. So it was really cool for him to get a pentakill, and then it'd be so funny as to where it was like Galio R into Ornn R and they all died. And then like our reactions like 5 to 10 seconds like, oh my god, it was like really good. So that's why I definitely appreciate that series and that game.
Yeah, no, the Ornn Pentakill was pretty fucking funny. I saw it. It got into it was on a YouTube video. It was like, it had like 3,000 views or something. One of my friends on League sent it to me. I thought that was funny. No, it's a really good moment. Sky getting the 5-man on the Ornn. Albino was mad because he thought it was his, because he had like both of their procs off of whatever the fuck that item's called went off at the same time.
In Titan, I don't know if I'm playing in Titan this upcoming season. I'll probably be a sub for one of the teams, if anything. But my overall plan is playing with Colin and Dell in one of these like higher tier leagues to see if we can compete in those leagues. Is what I'm planning on doing, at least.
Yeah, I was unjustly put on the Apex players list. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to be moving up to Diamond Leagues next split. Thankfully, I have Albino following me and Dell, and we're going to look to build a team around that core and go compete, whether it's Fank or ADL or...
Yeah, so as my boys are graduating and moving off into Diamond, I will, give them a salute. Maybe next split I'll be able to join them. But for this split coming up, I will be playing in Eternal and Conquer again, hopefully trying to see if we can make deep runs into both like we did in this split, and just seeing how it goes. That's kind of the plan right now.
Am I even going to be allowed in the next Titan season? I don't even know. Oh, I suppose. Yeah. I'm going to try to win again, probably. Be the hope.
Just appreciate everyone rooting for us, and even if we verse some of our friends on the other teams, it's nice to have good competition along the way. shout out one of our coaches, Oral, for helping us out, improving our game throughout the season when we may not have been the best players. And yeah, just thanks to everyone who watched us and everyone played on the team together. It was a ton of fun, and hope to do it again in the future.
Much like Albino said, just thanks for being around. Also, shout out Oral for making the monster that I apparently have become, and I'm gunning for you next split.
Yeah, I'm the same. I really appreciate us also just like meeting the people in the scene that we've met. We're a brand new org that started in BOL of last split, and to have as many nice and cool faces come into our server and be interactive with us, being involved with us, and cheering for us when we were playing was really cool. Obviously, big shout out to Oral because he was our main coach who would help us with like VOD reviews and like helping us with better macro and stuff like that. So definitely he deserves as much of it as we do. And for our subs being available, because there were games that we needed subs, whether it was Butters playing or if it was Satan playing in jungle, like these people we needed in our matches. So being ready, being able to have meet those game requirements every week and be ready to go if we ever needed them was a really big help. So I definitely appreciate them as well.
Thanks for watching and helping out however you did, and keep it up, I guess.